And you're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is day 2, round 1, 2022 Carling Currie Cup Rugby is back. We've got 2 games into it, and now we are in the third and the final game of the weekend. The rugby is at the DHL Stadium down in Cape Town. The first day of the Currie Cup game, I think, at the ground with fans. There are fans in the stadium, which is very cool to see. And we're going to have a very interesting game today between the Western Province and the Lions. Both sort of squads, quite a lot of rotation in terms of the sort of players you expect to see playing in a Western Province or a Lions jersey, but plenty of young talent on display, which I think is probably the main thing. And very interesting to sort of see how things go with both sides in terms of the attitude towards the Currie Cup and the goals for the Currie Cup, because it's been quite a contentious subject in terms of the Lions coming out and being very, very open about it and saying, listen, we are going to go with split squads. We are not going to, intermix squads. We are not going to have our URC players playing in the Currie Cup. You'd have different players, which has drawn quite a lot of criticism, which I think is a little bit unfair, because I think it's a tactic that has been employed by the Lions because they understand their reality. And the reality is that they don't have the squad depth that the other 3 URC franchises do. And as a result, they have decided to stick with their sort of their common mantra, which is all about developing youth players and producing players from the union, as opposed to sort of going out and buying the best in and around there, because they just don't have the financial pool that other unions do, which can be quite frustrating as a Lions fan, but it is a unfortunate reality. As a result, they've named a very young side for today. But if you look at the Western Province side, far more experienced, but also quite a young side with quite a few exciting players. 2 new captains there as well. A new coach for the Lions in Zwake and Corsi. So very excited to see how he goes. And it's going to be a very interesting Currie Cup for a number of reasons, because it's a very different Currie Cup to what we are used to. The Bulls currently topping the Currie Cup log with 5 points after their victory over the Pumas last night. Cheetahs have just beaten the Griquas, but didn't manage to get a bonus point. So a win today for either side will put them, get started, really. And all signs point to the Stormers, in theory, probably being sort of more dominant, but never right off the Lions. They are a union and a side and an organization who thrive on the underdog card. And they are very much underdogs in terms of the amount of experience or the lack thereof they've got in their side today. So if we look at the home side, it is you'll recognize far more players probably in the home side than you will in the Lions side. But if you go through the front row, Quenzo Blosse, Chad Solomon, Lee Marvin Mazabuko, players who have been around the fringes, they've played. A lot of them, I think, your Chad Solomon's played Super Rugby, but Quenzo Blosse, Lee Marvin Mazabuko, they've played a little bit of URC, I think. They've played, obviously, Currie Cup before. They've played Super Rugby Unlocked. They've played at the highest level. But they've always sort of been fringe players. They've never sort of been able to sort of knuckle down. And you can't really blame them with the likes of Stephen Kitzer, France Moherba, all floating in and around the squad. So there's an opportunity for them to try and sort of put their hands up and say, listen, you've got to be including us in that URC games. The second row, Connor Evans and Andre Smith. Andre Smith, a very big player for the Stormers. I think they're really rating their sign down to quite a long-term contract. I believe he signed till, I think it's at least 2023, if not 2024. And then the loose trio is probably what excites me the most. Now, Kleiber is captaining the game today. Simon Miller is going to be in next to him in this back row. And then Achiva Diamani, a former Lions player, is recovered from injury and will start in the number 8 jersey. Thomas Bursey partners Tim Swiel, so a nice, exciting product of the Currie Cup. And Thomas Bursey, whose partners are very experienced, Tim Swiel, he's played a lot of Currie Cup rugby. He's played a lot of rugby at the highest level, former Harlequins player. And then if we look at the backline, Angelo Davids is now playing full-time 15s and starts at 14. And the other wing, Pascal Akeji, gets an opportunity. The 2 centers today are Cornel Smith and Leon Zass will operate outside center, which I think is quite an interesting call. The fullback today will be Tristan Late. So, I mean, it's a weird thing, but there's one thing that the Lions probably have on the Stormers. They're going to have a bigger backline. In terms, all I was saying, that something like Aaron Cubitt is not too big, but Tristan Late, Leon Lutz, Angelo Davis won't be the biggest sort of players in that sort of channel. So if you can get the likes of a James Malense, who is packed quite a punch, into the right gap, that'll be quite an interesting sort of physical battle. On the bench for the Western Province, Jacques Van Zyl, Leon Lyons, Sazi Sande, KK Marabe, Dion Free, Godlin Masimla, Chris Schroeder, Manobo Zwilendaba. So it's a much more experienced bench than the Lions do have. The likes of a Dion Free coming off, Leon Lyons, Sazi Sande, they've been playing a lot at the URC level. Godlin Masimla has been playing a lot. I value rate him as well. A nice, exciting scrum half. If you're looking at the Lions, it's very much a core of the sort of under 20 group that is currently the best side in the country at that age group level. And then a couple of other players in and around. That's some good players to have as well, and the likes of an MJ Pulsar off the bench, a PJ Steenkamp in the second row, Emmanuel Shtuka at eighth man. So a couple of big names in some important positions. But if you look at the Lions side, Benele Imtinjane is at a loose head. Damien Fenter is the hooker today, and Asinati and Klabakanya will captain the side. He is absolute unit, 2 times SA under 20 player. He's played URC already, and I'll be interested to see if they're going to keep him playing here, or if you will be seeing him more in the URC. PJ Steenkamp and Simon Denisio. Denisio on debut, and PJ Steenkamp, I was quite impressed with what I saw from him last year. So excited to see what he can give us today. The loose trio, Mark Snyman, Jared Keynes, and Emmanuel Shtuka. Emmanuel Shtuka is someone who hasn't seen enough of, I think, is the reality. So an opportunity for him to put his hand up. He is a senior player in this team, despite how young he still is. An opportunity for him to really sort of stand up and start sort of following the path that has been carved out by his brother. The halfback combination today will be Jared Claessens and Vaughan Isaacs. Zelinger Stradum and Baldwin Hansen on the 2 wings. The center pairing is Aiden Kubito and James Malensa, who can both operate at fly half, interestingly enough. So quite a lot of playmakers in the Lions side. James Malensa coming back from a 9-month layoff after doing his ACL. I think he did it last year in about April, so very good to see him back. So a massive boost on him and a very talented young player. Kieran Horn is a very exciting player to watch. He was the SA under 20 fullback during that series last year in Stellenbosch, and he's a very nice player. Then off the bench, Darnell Uswagu, Heiko Pullman, Sibosiso Swangwe, Ruan Fenter, Lunga Nkube, MJ Palser, Nico Stain, and Tyler Box. So lots of exciting names. If you've been following the Lions for a long time, you know a lot of those names will stand out in terms of some of the talented youngsters that are in the union. So it's a very different Lions versus Western Province fixture to what we've sort of come to expect. But one thing we do know is that when players have got a lot to prove, they can often lift their game. And I think that in terms of hunger, this Lions side, they've been accused of not taking the Currie Cup seriously. Now, think about it as a player being named in a team, and as a result of what you be named in the team, your union faces, accusations of not taking competition seriously. So they'll be out to really try and prove a point. As Asinate and Klabakanya leads out his men. So I'm interested to see, because they would have been largely written off for the entire competition, especially this game already, as a result of the attitude they've had towards the competition. Now, you look at the Western Province, they've got to play again on Wednesday. The Stormers will play next week, Friday. So these players can't play 3 games in a week. So they're also going to have to rotate their squad quite a lot. So it will be interesting to see how, throughout the sort of tournament, how many of the sort of the A-string players we do see in the other unions, and whether, they actually do end up playing a largely second-string side, despite not necessarily saying they will, whereas the Lions have been very upfront and said, we will be using a separate squad for the game. The Lions are on the field. They're waiting for their Western Province counterparts. Here it comes, led up by Noah Klaba, who no doubt will be back in the Stormers jersey next weekend. And I think something like Klaba, the important thing for him is game time. He's a very talented player. He's phenomenal at the breakdown when he wants to be. And I think the important thing is for him to get games under his belt. And the more that he can do that, the more he will continue to progress as a player. And unfortunately, his reason he hasn't progressed more is just a lot of injuries. But if he can try and get some games under his belt, it'll go a long way towards him really sort of reaching the potential. And John Dobson really rates him. I mean, he reckons he's a future Springbok. The match officials say AJ Jacobs is in the middle, Rasto Rasavenga is on the side. The Western Province is playing left to right. The Lions will be receiving the kickoff. So a lot of players making their debut today, and I think that's another thing. You look at players who are on debut. How often do we see, not necessarily man of the match, but we see players who are so desperate to impress that they really can raise their game. So I do think we're in for an interesting game. I think we've got a lot of young players who will want to try and make a statement. And as a result, I think we could see a game with a lot of players, trying to show what they can do. We have got kickoff. Let me get my clock going. It's a good early touch there for Emmanuel Shtuka. Nice under the high ball. Keeping possession for his side. And immediately going towards that's a nice run over here. Moving down the left, James Valente operating at first receiver. Knee very heavily strapped there, as you'd imagine, after that injury to him. Claessen's now taking his time, going to the boot. And I think a penalty for in front of the kicker is going to be pulled back here from AJ Jacobs. So that's a really, really poor penalty for the Lions to concede. Frustrating because it was a nice little start there. A couple of passes around there. I think it's Zelinger Stradum who's just gone off sides there, just a little bit too eager. So immediately the West Province have a decision to make, and that decision is going to be kicked to the corner. Tim Steele with the ball in hand. One of the probably the most experienced player on the park for both sides. And all of a sudden, this young Lions side are going to have a Western Province set piece to try and defend. It's a very good kick as well. So they're on the 5 meters, so it's a perfect start here for the Western Province. They'll have an early opportunity to try and set up a rolling more and try and get over the advantage line here. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. They do contest the Lions. It's a good take at the back. More shifting towards the left there. The Lions putting them under a lot of pressure. The call comes to use it. Thomas Burch is thinking about using it. It's also crumbling down. And then you can see where the ball have it. They've come just short of the Western Province. Pick up and go on the captain is well met. Doesn't manage to get over. Now I think Lima Buzabuko takes it there. Short again. Another go. It looked like it's over, and it is a try. Well, that's the perfect start for the Western Province. A disaster start for the Lions. It all came down to a really poor penalty conceded. Just Zelinger Stradum who will be kicking himself because there was no need for them to be under so much pressure early on. But that is the reality. You can't give away easy penalties, and all of a sudden they've kicked to the corner. They've defended them more well. Then it's pick and go, and it's RJ Smith who had the physicality to get over. I think he's initially short, but they just continued driving and eventually manages to get his hands over. So Western Province take first blood down in Cape Town. So Tim Swirly operates with a career percentage of 84% with a relatively easy way to start proceedings. Yeah, no issues, as you'd imagine, from the veteran fly half. So Western Province go up to 7-0 within the first 4 minutes. All right, the restart there from Vaughan Isaacs. And Sweel decides to go to the boot. Clears up front. Finds a very nice touch finder as well. So Western Province kicking themselves back to Lions territory. Even Kevin, yeah, not the ideal start at all. I think the important thing is to try and get ball in hand now and just try to start sort of settling down in the game. Let these youngsters get some ball in hand and build some confidence, because that is not the way you would want to begin. Vic, early prediction for who will win the Currie Cup. I suppose it depends when we start seeing sort of the team. It's a nice line victory there from Dionisio on debut. Early carry there for Hansen. Now running the Isaacs going towards Kieran Horn, who steps away from 2 players. Nice carry there from the fullback who's joined the line. Dionisio Nege with a nice carry there. Back to Isaacs in the pocket. Spots a bit of space down the left-hand side. Tristan Lates has managed to keep that in very well. Bit of pressure now for Angelo Davids, but he stepped past Stradum very well. And now they're on the attack here. Tristan Lates coming inside. He's brought down, but he manages to get it away to Mazabuka. Really good work there from Mazabuka. And now it's a penalty for, I don't think, not rolling is the call. Angelo Davis just sending Zelinger straight in for a couple of hot dogs early on. So not a good start for the young number 11 for the Lions. Another penalty for the Western Province, and Tim Sweel will be able to kick this towards the The Lions try line again. In terms of who I think will win, as I said, I suppose it depends on the squads we start seeing. You know, obviously it all comes down to which side. Let's see the one who was penalised there for not rolling fast enough. The Western Province up to 22. I mean, squad-wise, I think that the Sharks and the Bulls have the most squad depth, and as a result, probably are best placed to field the strongest sides out of the URC. The Chiefs obviously got quite a good squad, so it'll be interesting to sort of see if they start really sort of pushing. But I wasn't over. Also, a win there from Denisio, who's had quite a hectic start to the game. Now McClabber, though, managing to jump onto the ball as it comes free. So the Western Province still in the attack here. Strong tackle there from Emmanuel Tuka. Now they're working way towards the back. Tim Sweel starts to dab through for Angelo Davids. Oh, and has he won? Has he got there? Has he got there? I don't think he thinks he's gotten there. Angelo Davids doesn't look confident. It was a nice little kick in behind Tim Sweel, and he was unchallenged all by himself, Angelo Davids, whether he's managed to win the race or whether the ball has run out. I think the ball has run out. He didn't look particularly confident in that. No celebrations from him. So I think he thinks the ball has won. But that's an early warning sign for the pace that is Angelo Davids, who is now playing 15s full time. So Russell Wenger reckons he saw some grounding. I mean, as I said, I don't think. I mean, Angelo Davids doesn't really back the grounding. I don't think he's not celebrating. So the ball's up in the air. No, it's out. He literally fumbles it forward and then he bounces it on the line there. So that's definitely out. So the Lions do survive that. Early signs, but a nice start there so far for Simon Denisio, who's on debut. He's had 2 nice carries. He's now had a line-out victory. What are we looking at this again here, Chas? We can see it's out. Yeah, touch and go. I mean, how do you award that? You can tell by a player whether he thinks he's gotten it. And Angelo Davis didn't think he got it at all. So it will be a 22 restart. All right, so Morgan Isaacs goes very deep there. All right, Hachiba Diamani up against his former side. Runs into the captain, that's Nathan Kabakanya and Denisio. Now looking to go to Leon Zas, who's brought down Emmanuel Tuka. And James Lensen. Tuka's now going to try and go to the counter ruck. And just losing their footing there, I think, when they came in from the side is the call. I don't think it was from the side, but I think the Lions players just losing their footing as they went over. So just being a little bit over eager there was Emmanuel Tuka. Another penalty for the Western Province. That's the third penalty they've won. But he hasn't found touch there. So Morgan Isaacs will be able to hack this downfield. Well fielded by Tristan Lates. Now he's got a good step on him and plenty of pace. Let's see what he's going towards the left, trying to find some space. He brings it to Chaz Solomons. He gives it off to Ikeji. Now I'll Smith almost in a gap. And his offload, I think, just forward. And it's turnover ball for the Lions. Morgan Isaacs decides to go himself, trying to play a bit of space. He then goes to the boot. And he's turned Tristan Lates. Seems a bit of a slow chase so far from the Lions. Tristan Lates playing a bit of territory game here. Puts in the kick. That's well fielded by Morgan Isaacs. Now Kieran Horn brings in that left boot of his. That's a very good kick. If that runs out, it'll be 50-22. That is an absolute scorcher of a kick from Kieran Horn. He saw the space. He's put in an absolute monster. I mean, that's almost 22-22, and he's found touch. That is a brilliant effort. See how it just fades away. There's nobody back to. You saw the space, and it bounces just for 22. And all of a sudden, the Lions, who have had no opportunity, find themselves with the line out inside the 22. Bit of a press conference there happening between the Lions players, but an early opportunity for them to try and demonstrate what they can do from the set piece. That'll be a nice confidence booster for Currie. He's a very exciting player. From early sounds, you'd imagine that Donesio will be the target, as he is. It's a nice take up the air from him, and here comes a rolling more from the Lions. Good start here. Get ready, a bit of momentum. Claessens is there in case the ball needs to come up, but they're still going. Now being pushed a little bit towards the touchline. They need to try and regather a little bit. But they're still going, almost up to the 5 meters. It's a very nice move here from the Lions. And the Stormers now sort of West Pole peeling off to the right, but the Lions are still going. And they've got a penalty advantage as well. Very nicely worked here, lads. Now they're just trying to get the ball out so they can use it. But it will be a penalty. So, I mean, after that, as us now to Clavicania, especially the fact that he is a tight head, he's going to tell Vaughan Isaacs to go kick that into the corner. We're going to have another go here. Yep, you've gone for the corner. I like that. I enjoy the confidence. And it's Simon Miller, the man who's been penalised. You can see he's a bit of nowhere, and then he decides to just grab them and fall down. So, I mean, that's pretty cynical. I think if he were to do that again, I think he'd find himself in more trouble. Another lineup. It is a shortened lineup. It's a 5-man from which they started their previous war. Right, so a bit of time here on the line out. Yeah, I'll take my clock a little bit. They got it to Alessio again. It's another nice take from him. Been very active so far in the opening stages. There's another looking more here from the Lions. They're working really hard. They've almost got the momentum. They're going slightly towards the left. And you try and work their way towards the right. They can peel off. They're still going. And try time. Well, there we go. Well, this all stems down to Currie in that booth. That 50-22 rule, I must admit, I was quite skeptical of it initially, but I'm really starting to enjoy it. I think we all are. Because it really has got the ability to turn a game around in terms of, what was once a very boring kicking game has now turned to a very good tactical weapon. And Currie has managed to get them inside the 22. They've won a penalty, a kick to the corner, and the rolling maul has worked twice now. Two very nice lineup wins there from Donesio, the number 5 for the Lions, who's been very busy so far, and they just kept going. Eventually, it looked like the Stormers were coming, or Western Province were coming through, but they peeled to the right. They remain patient. They go over, and Damien Fenter has his first try. Difficult kick now for Vaughan Isaacs, right on the left inside of the park. Kevin says the history between Lions and West Province has kind of always brought out some good rugby. Back to live again, well done. Yeah, I think if it's the Lions, as I said, it's a strange. We are a strange franchise where you kind of never know what to expect. And then that's a kick that's gone way towards the left. So it'll remain 7 points to 5. But that'll do this young side a world of good. We start going towards the left-hand side, or the right-hand side. That's not a nice sun to have under for Hansen, but he does manage to take it well. Claessens asks for a few runners here. It's PJ Steenkamp that obliges. Now Claessens' kick is chased down. Vaughan Isaacs is very away to the threat. Gives it away to Currie. Who works away towards the right. Lions under pressure here. One inside the 22, but they now do have the safety 22. They want to go touch. Back to Vaughan Isaacs. Under a bit of pressure. Doesn't find touch. And Tristan Late's got Chiba Daimani. He's looking to build up a bit of steam. He runs into Donesio and Clavicania. Now the Western Province work towards the right. Tristan Lace looking to see what he can do. So I step inside, goes himself. David Fenter goes for the pilfer, but loses his footing. Now Damien Diamani against Chatuka, eighth man. Now there's a bit of space out wide. There Leon and Zaz handing off Hansen, then going off to Akeji, who comes inside. Now Mazabuko, that's a big tackle on him from Denisio and Dimanis Tuka. Penalty advantage as well. Not entirely what for. For offside is the call from AJ Jacobs. So the penalty count really starting to hurt the Lions now. They're going to go for the poles here, Western Province, which I think is a bit of a sign of respect. I think, if they hadn't just conceded a try, they probably would have gone for the corner like they have been going for early on. But now they just want to try and put a couple of points over. Mentioned in the build-up, being here with you for the Test series against the British and Irish Lions, July, August last year. 4 and 5. On the other side of the rig, privileged and honoured to be here for that series with the difference fans would have made to that series, and even the 2,000 that we allowed stadium, top stadium, to just making their voices heard, and then keep like flags and waving. And the kick sails over from Tim Sweel, so the Western Province established a 5-point lead. And I think the Lions at the moment, it's just a penalty count. I think it's 5 penalties now conceded in the 15 minutes. They're averaging a penalty every 3 minutes, which you can't. It's just not sustainable. Oh, but having said that, Diamani misses that apparently. Almost a bit of a worrying moment for him. But Akeji, it's a big tackle on him from the 2 props. Now to the Sweel, clearing from the middle of the 22 now. Finds touch towards the right-hand side of the park by the 10-meter line. It was almost a massive mistake by Hachiba Daimani, who lost his footing, and thankfully for him, didn't touch it at all. Else would have been a knock on a scrum for the Lions inside the 22. Possession's been 50-50 so far. Haven't had a scrum yet. Now, I'll be interested to see how the scrums go, because I think that this Lions pack, they've got 2 very big props. So weight-wise, I think they'll be okay. It comes down to, it's all about technique at the end of the day. But I think that could be an interesting battle with the likes of Mazabuka and Quentin Blosser having a lot more experience than, Imtajane and Klabakanye. Another take from Denisio. Aiden Kabito, first carry for him. And Mark Sneyman has left that ball behind. Sorry, so it's Jared Cairns there who left that ball behind. So you see a couple of early errors there. And we will have our first scrum after saying all that. Right, so here we go. First scrum of the day, just inside the Western Province, on the other side of the 10-meter, slightly towards the right-hand side of the park, but pretty central. Now, in terms of players who I'd really like to have a good day, I'd really like to see what Damien Fenter can offer the Lions, because I think hooker's an issue for the Lions at the senior level. So I think that if he has a big day today, can very well put his name up for further selection. The Lions are heavier, as you'd imagine, with somebody like Asanate and Klabakanya in the tight heads. So it'll be interesting to see how we go here. It's very unstable, so we're going to have a reset here. In this competition last season as well, so growing experience and stature. Do South Africa when they're doing internationals alongside him in that Lions front row. Right, after a couple of resets, we're finally ready to get back underway. Right, what can they do here? Pretty solid scrum. West Paras back down the left to Leon and Sass, who's tracked down, but he misses the tackle as Claessens. It's eventually brought down by Mark Snyman and Kieran Horn. And Quincy Blosser has knocked the ball on. Imton John is eventually going to bring the ball down. So there is a knock-on advantage for the Lions. Claesen going back to Morgan Isaacs. He goes to Kieran Horn. Kieran Horn looking to try and keep things alive. And it's a knock-on for McKeji. Whether it's deliberate. Yeah, penalty. I think, deliberate knockdown there. Kieran Horn saw a bit of space. It was a bit of a 2-on-1 there. So McKeji hadn't knocked it on and definitely no position to try and take that legitimately. So it is a penalty for the Lions. But Leon Zas, what he doesn't have in size, he'll make it with a lot of pace on that break there. So getting away from Claessens. Now Morgan Isaacs needs to get the Lions nice and close. I don't think he's done that, but judging by his reaction, no, he hasn't. So they will have a line out on the halfway line. Right, so we're going to close that poll that we had going on earlier, asking you guys who you think is going to win. And this year, once again, goes up. And that's Hansen that's gone through the middle there. The Lions number 14, Claesen, quick ball. It was very quick up there was Tim Sweel. Not offside though, according to AJ Jacobs. Now Malense throws a dummy but loses his footing. So under a bit of pressure here. The ball comes back for Manus Tuka. Puts his head down. He runs into RJ Smith, who's not the person you want to be running into. Now McLeod desperately trying to grab that ball. The ball's off to the side. And it's penalty for hands in the ruck. Offside there's the call from AJ Jacobs. Now this is a much better position. In theory, it should be in any fly half range, being smack bang on the halfway line. But big decision to make here for the Lions. I would go for the are going to go for the corner. They've been dominant in the lines they've had. They've had good mauls. And at the end of the day, what have you got to lose, really? When you get to that stage of the game and a victory could be in the cards, then cool, take the 3 points. But for now, show yourself, express yourself, go for that line. So they found touch just inside the 22 through the boot of Morgan Isaacs. Yeah, so it's Daimani who went over. The ball sort of went to the side there. And the number 4 there from the Western Province, Connor Evans, being a little bit too over-enthusiastic. Right, so Dionisio will be the target, I'm sure. Goes to the front. It's another very nice take from him. And it's a good-looking maul already there from the Lions. It's broken free, so they found about 5 meters, but it has come down. Claessens now needs to get that ball out under a little bit of pressure. A couple of players falling over. Goes to Damien Fenter, the hooker. Penalty advantage. And Klabakanya now, the big number 3. So a bit of a free roll of the dice here. What can Claessens conjure up? Goes to Jared Keynes. Oh, that's a horrible pass from Claessens at the feet of Morgan Isaacs. So they'll have the penalty, and I'm sure that the first thing they'll do is kick towards the corner once again. Much better here from the Lions. They're going to go for the poles here, which, I can understand the thinking. I would have liked them to have been a bit braver there. I think the maul is looking very good. With this sort of position, you'd be able to kick it into the corner and have a real go. There's a high tackle they called against Daimani. So Morgan Isaacs missed his first attempt. Looks like he's got a decent boot on him. Morgan Isaacs unsuccessful with his first attempt to goal. We have another opportunity here. Well, he's got 14 seconds left. So he needs to get going here. Although there was a bit of discussion, so I'm not sure the penalty clock is exactly right. He's going to be within it though. Yep, that's a very good kick there from Morgan Isaacs, and the Lions reduced the deficit to 2 points. Bit of a tough call on Daimani, but was on a bit of the higher side. I think if it wasn't for Clavicanya's arms being up there. I think he probably would have gone around the neck. And it's Dionisio underneath the high ball. Nice take from him. But he's been ripped in the tackle there. And Leon Zas is away. Claessens, he needs support as Leon Zas. Western Province all of a sudden on the 5-meter line. Inside ball to Simon Miller, who goes to Quenzo Blosser. Western Province all immediately on the attack after the rip from the player there. Tristan Lace running the hands. Daiwani goes inside to Tristan Lace. Ball over the top. And Angela Davis will go through. That's so poor. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how inexperienced you are. You cannot lose a ball like that. Literally went up 1-1. And all they've done is they've gone around the side. They ripped the ball out. They're on the attack. They spirit out, and Angela Davis is hit back. I want to see this kickoff again. I'm very interested to see what how this happened, because I don't know if it's just poor protection of the man with the ball. It's good hands. I mean, the inside ball from Diamond takes out a few defenders, and that ball over the top. Angela Davis has got ball over the top from Tristan Lace. Angela Davis with the easiest of run-ins. All stemming from not being able to take a kickoff. It's my biggest pet hate. Those who've watched me before will know that I can't stand losing the ball from the kickoff. It's such a poor mistake to concede. You know, you should never be conceding points with the kickoff. And Tim Sweel has split the polls from the left-hand side, so Western Province go up to 17 points. And that's the frustration. You know, if you're going to go for the 3 points, you cannot butcher the restart, because all the Lions have done, they've gone for the 3 points, fair enough, but then they've come back and they conceded 7. So the net result is 4 points. You know, whereas if you'd gone for the try and you'd scored it and converted it, and then done again, then the game hasn't progressed much in the last 5 minutes. So not that you should ever think about that when you make the decision, but that's why it's so crucial to take a kickoff, which Akeji has not done, and he's knocked it forward. So that's 2 really poor restarts from both sides now. So all of a sudden the Lions now will find an opportunity inside the 22 for a scrum. And this is where the captain and Clabacania needs to start, this is where he can assert authority. He wants to, if he can get the best of Quenzo Blosser, this is where he can really lead from the front. You know, he starts getting momentum at scrum time. This pack can get a lot of experience out of that. Kevin's saying, as soon as Lions get points, they give West Province points back. Yeah, it's frustrating. But here we go. The Lions scrum didn't look too bad. It looked quite an even contest last time. So the Western Province got it out with ease, and they burst down the left. But let's see if the Lions will want to try and keep the ball in the scrum for a little bit more and see if they can win a penalty here. Again, that's a good-looking scrum. It's a nice hit. Now a bit of pressure coming from the Western Province. They do use it. It's Hansen who gets away from 1, gets away from 2. Now a bit of a leg drive. Charlotte carry there from the wing. Claessens looking for quick delivery. Goes to Jared Keynes. Brought down by Diamani. Good continuity here from the Lions. Oh, and he's just PJ Steenkamp has lost that forward. And all of a sudden the Western Province have now lost that forward. So basics there. Rasal Leon Zas, you knew that he could have created a counter-attack there, but this is really poor from PJ Steenkamp. It's gone straight through his arms, and he is more experienced, so you can't, when you look to experienced players, you need them to do the basics well and lead from the front. So that's really poor. So we'll have another scrum here. I think we're going to be in for an interesting scrum battle, because the Lions had the first shove, and the Western Province came through with a bit of pressure of their own. So I wouldn't say that the scrums are particularly one-sided just yet. So scrum now inside of the Western Province 22. A big scrum from the Lions here. It's gone straight down. Penalty against Intim Jane. I don't know if it's for a pre-engage or what the call is there. He's not particularly impressed. And that's a terrific kick from Thomas Rue. I mean, he's gone from inside the 22 and he's found touch past the 10-meter line in the Lions. So all of a sudden, the Western Province have a brilliant attacking opportunity from the set piece. Right, Chad Solomon, and we're looking for a couple of his jumpers here. But it's won by Dionisio, who can't do anything wrong at the moment. That's a very important 9 victory there for the Lions. Counter coming from the Western Province, a little bit from the side. Class under a little bit of pressure. And Strader managed to try and clean up, but it's penalty again for a deliberate knockdown. Those are stupid penalties you can see from the Western Province. You know, I mean, it's frustrating as a team when you're under pressure and you see somebody just knock a ball down and you can see the penalty in that fashion. And Morgan Isaacs brings out that big. He's got a big boot. I mean, I think he can work with a much bigger angle than he is at the moment. And Claassen had a little bit of pressure, saw the thing frustrate him. Yeah, and look, Thomas Bursey, you can't really puts his hands up, but I mean, it was always a penalty there. So the Lions now into West Forest territory, the 10-meter line. Damien Fenter goes towards the back of the line, goes to Manish Tuka, and manages to knock it back towards Claassen. It wasn't clean. Kubito going to Morgan Isaacs, and the pass is behind. The Western Province now coming through. And it all comes down to where the ball's going to bounce. Kieran Horn has dove on it under a lot of pressure, but he's done very well there as the Lions retreat. They're back inside their own 22. It's well done by Kieran Horn, has done a lot of pressure. Now Dionisio carrying it up. With another big counter coming in from the Western Province. The Lions under a lot of pressure. They've got to get this ball out. And that's the second time where I'm not convinced they've come through the gate. They're taking quickly as Thomas Bursey off the penalty. Give it to Connor Evans. It's a big tackle on him from the captain. Not 10 meters was the call. So the penalty advantage. And they'll go back for the penalty. I want to look at these counter rucks because there've been 2 which look very much like they're coming in from the left-hand side. The Lions got to look after their possession more. You know, it's when you are the underdogs, when you are a side which doesn't have necessarily the proven pedigree, you've got to make sure you do the basics right, and keeping and supporting your runners there is what's vital. We're looking at the wrong replay here. A couple of conversations about the not 10 rule, about whether it actually might sort of disappear a little bit because in terms of the way that scrum halves just tap the ball and run into players basically, who've got no opportunity to retreat 10. The law is currently if you are retreating, and you've gone and by the time you've travelled 5, then you're fine. It's a good more there from the Western Province, which has now come to the Jeepers. It's still going actually. I don't know how that's worked. They've almost slungshot themselves around. They've on the scoreboard here. It looked like it was collapsing, but it almost, as I said, almost like a slingshot where it sort of went past the initial collapse and went straight over onto the bottom. So Chad Solomon with the try there. I mean, they had the run here to the more. I'm just very interested to see how they've sort of gone around here. Because you see half of it sort of seems to collapse. And they just keep working the way around. They keep working their way around. And he just bursts through the middle. So it's very well done there. Good composure there from the Western Province number 2. A lot of Western Province history of the Solomons family. Thomas Wheel has kicked very well so far. Pretty standard attempt from him. He's hit the crossbar, actually. Well, not the crossbar, he's hit the upright. So that's uncharacteristic from Thomas Wheel. It's probably the easiest kick of the day from him, apart from the penalty earlier. But the score now 22 points to 8. 8 minutes to go until half time. The Lions will be frustrated because I think a couple of basic errors is what has led to them being 14 points behind. They'll want to try and get a try before half time, or even a penalty. Just try and get themselves within touching distance. I don't think the expectation was for them to win, but you want to try and put a respectable scoreline. And then once again, they put it into the sun. KG this time much more up to the task. Good chase there from Hansen. Diamani now with the carry. He's very busy so far as Diamani, back from injury. Thomas Bursey going to his left boot. Right up against the touchline. Tester for Q and Horn. He takes it very well and gets away from one player, gets away from another player, still going as Q and Horn. Steps inside. It's a very nice carry from the Lions fullback. Nice quick ball from Claessens. James Johnny steps inside, lines up a few players, finds some meters. Claessens not the best pass to Isaacs. He goes to Cupido. Malense. It's a very good defensive read there. I think it's by Angelo Davids. The Lions back towards the 10-meter line. Another counter ruck coming in. Claessens giving it to PJ Steenkamp. This time he manages to hold on to it. Now Isaac so almost playing a little bit of space, going himself, but he ran into a lot of traffic from the Western Province. Standard Cape Town traffic there. Not the best pass into Johnny, who's quite upright. Managed to take it to ground. A couple of phases now for the Lions. Need to remain patient here. Gerald Kane's going himself. Sixth phase now. Cupido steps inside. Ball outside to James Malense. Very good carry from him up to the 10-meter. Tim Swiel fighting on the ground. The ball's popped out. Ooh, penalty for holding on, I think it's a bit harsh there, AJ. I mean, it barely gone to ground there. Well, look at the replay. Looking at a tackle here between... Oh, I think he's going to be okay. I'm pretty sure it's RJ Smith again, you know. Looking at the tackle from RJ Smith on PJ Steenkamp. It's a very big tackle. They are going to review it. Wouldn't be the first time RJ Smith's been in trouble from a tackle. It was a big tackle. Then the big thing that you're going to check now is whether it was below the shoulder. It's difficult to see on that angle, like the way his head sort of whips around. It almost looks like it makes contact on the head, but I don't know if it's just a case of that or whiplash. See, there he's got made contact on the top of the shoulder. I don't know if you're going to find a better angle here. We need to slow this down a little bit to see where he makes contact. Oh, it doesn't look good, you know. It's a swinging shoulder arm to the head over here. So I think RJ Smith's going to be in trouble. Yeah, look, he's coming with a lot of force. This could actually be worse than a yellow, you know. So Steenkamp's going down, but RJ Smith that looks shoulder to head contact, and as soon as shoulder to head contact, you're on a red card and you work down. So this could be a massive moment in the game. The right arm seems to be making contact about over here, but if you go back from the other angle, it looks like the shoulder is almost making contact over here. Well, we're looking at a minimum of a penalty. I think it'll be at least a yellow card. It's whether they decide that there's shoulder on head contact at a high impact force. The idea that swinging arm has been talked about quite a lot when it comes to red cards. No mitigation. I think RJ Smith's off here, by the way. I think he could be that could be the end of this game. And I think the 20-minute red card rule is in play. I think we're about to see a yellow card. A yellow card. Well, I'm a bit strange at that. I'd like to know what AJ Jacobs had to say, because they said that there was no mitigation. If there's no mitigation, I'm confused as to why it's only a yellow. Look, nobody wants to see a red card, so I mean, I wouldn't say I'm overly upset by it, but it's interesting that they spoke about no mitigation and then gave a yellow card. But it's bang in front of the poles. So, but the line, I'm gonna call them the Lion Cubs, have decided stuff this. We're going for the corner. They're a man down. And it's a big man to lose, like quite literally, because RJ Smith provides a lot of bulk in this pack. And the fact that they've had so much more success means they're going to back themselves here. Also, you got to try and make the man advantage count. So if you can score here. Right, so where they're going to go? Denisio seems to be the obvious target. I don't know if that was planned. Skew throw is the call. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if Damien Fenter was supposed to do that, but Denisio went up and the ball went like head height, and Clavacania jumped on that. So I don't know if it was a set move. Definitely not a set move. It smacks him in the head. Yeah, so it's a horrible. I mean, that's just frustrating, to have an opportunity like that and then to butcher it. Damien Fenter was not going to want to watch that back. The ball just slips out. It's actually really good reactions from Clavacania. He gets absolutely walloped in the face, manages to hold on, but then the call is a skew throw. Which, to be honest, I've seen far skewer ones. If we look at last night, I think that a couple of the Bulls got away with a couple that were pretty skew. So the Western Province have not decided to add an extra person to the scrum, so the Lions will have a one-man advantage here. Western Province will want to get this ball in and out very quickly. Yeah, it's a pity that we couldn't hear the audio from the referee because it was a strange conversation because we heard high level of danger, we heard no mitigation, and then a yellow card came out. So my thinking is that they must have thought that the initial contact was shoulder that rode up to the head, but there was a swinging arm which makes contact. But we've also seen red cards for swinging arms which make contact. So after the reset, number club has decided to come onto the other side of the ground, but they're still a man down. So the ball stays in for a little bit here. The Lions had an opportunity to really sort of put them under the pump. Here it comes. It's a big scrum for the Lions. Big scrum from the Lions. And it's a penalty for the Lions. Come on. Yes, boys. Huge scrum. Huge effort from the front row. Damien Minfento will be very relieved after that. He's already walking to the line. I think they know exactly what the plan is here. Although I must admit, see, the ball just couldn't come in. He had to kick back into Thomas Bursey. They're under a lot of pressure there, the Western Province front row. Now, decision time here for Asnat and Clavacania. They've gone to the line again. So Damien Fenter will have another go. Yeah, but I mean, they mentioned the fact that Thomas Bursey kicked the ball back into the scrum, which I think is illegal. Bit of a farmer's tan there from Denisio. He goes up. They're looking for the early sack here, the West Province, but they haven't gotten it. So here comes an opportunity for the Lions to try and maul. They're going. They're still going. They're still going. Damien Fenter. He's got it on it as well. Come on. The Lions are fit back. Just before half time. This Rolling Moore has been really good so far. They backed themselves at the set piece. They kicked towards the corner. It's Mark Snyman, the man who's got over. Now, he's actually played the competition a couple of times. We've seen him at senior level before. This is senior level. Yeah, so I mean, the Moore was breaking off, but Snyman does very well to manage to get the ball and decide to go himself and goes over. And with 2 minutes to go, Western Province still will be a man down for about 3 minutes of the next half, unless this goes significantly over into extra time. But if Morgan Isaacs can nail what is a very difficult kick here, right up on the touch line, Lions will be back within 8 points. 7 points. Well, I suppose within 8 points. That's a very good looking kick from Morgan Isaacs, and he has absolutely nailed that. That's a brilliant effort from him. 22 points to 15. The Lions not out of it yet. The side came and it wasn't successful, and they see they peeled off to the right. Perfect response from the Lions after the yellow card. The restart going towards the left. The sun's sort of disappearing, so there's a miscommunication. They butchered that once again. The West Province are one possession back. Now McClava giving it off to Tim Sweel, who's coming to join the line. Long pass out to Angela Davids, but it's well read by Strain, and we managed to make the initial hit. But Angela Davids is still going. And you've got to take your kickoff. You cannot play a game if you can't take the kickoff. We saw with Springboks how costly it was. Now, the Western Province got a lot of players out there. Leon Zas got himself. Still going as Leon Zas. Eventually brought down. He's well into the 22 here. Now McLeod goes himself. PJ Steenkamp, it's a big hit on him. He's now being held by Hasanat Klabakanya, brings him down. Bercy going towards the left. Simon Miller now carrying it up. There's the hooter from at the Cape Town Stadium. So there's a penalty advantage, though, for the Western Province. Not quite sure what it's for. It might be the tackle from PJ Steenkamp, so they might have to look at that if it is. Cornell Smith managed to get away to Diamani. Diamani out to Angelo Davids, and Davids has two. It's so flippin' easy, isn't it? They've got a man down. You have a man up on them, and yet you've managed to draw everybody inside. And once again, they've just gone to the right-hand side. Angelo Davids got another bloody walk-in. Right on the brink of half-time. You cannot concede on the brink of half-time. You've just done so well. You've gotten yourself back into the game. There's a man in the bin. And it all comes down to the kickoff. It's all come down to the kickoff. James Valencia slips there, which is what creates the numbers. But there's always numbers, in fact. That didn't make much of a difference, which shows you how poorly spread the defense was. Like, you cannot buckle on your kickoff. That's two kickoffs the Lions have butchered, and they've been punished for it. They would be in this game if they knew how to take a kickoff. Literally, it's as simple as that. Nothing. This is the thing. The Western Province, I wouldn't say have been leaps and bounds better than the Lions, but the Lions have been sloppy. They've made some poor decisions, and the Western Province have just capitalized. And that's a good-looking kick from Tim Swiel. So he's added the extra 2. And the Lions will go into halftime 29 points to 15 down, which is incredibly frustrating because it's all come down to basic errors. Angelo Davids with the double. RJ Smith in the bin. And the Lions down 14 points at halftime. Right, so plenty of tries everywhere. 4 tries apiece. West Province already with the bonus point, but the Lions have got 2 of their own. So it's been a 6-try festival so far at the Cape Town Stadium. RJ Smith, the man who got the first try of the day. Angelo Davids has 2 to his name. Both Lions tries come from a rolling Moore. Chad Solomons as well on the score sheet. And it was an interesting half actually because the Western Province look very dangerous in ball in hand. They haven't had that many opportunities with ball in hand. They'd like a few more. And the Lions, when they've had the ball, set piece look all right, but they're making far too many mistakes. They're conceding penalties. They're not taking the kickoff, and all the Western Province is doing are waiting for the Lions to make those mistakes and then punishing them. Not taking the kickoff, bang, looking to punish. A couple of drops and stuff like that. The counterattack always looks on. Leon Zas is proving to be a thorn in the Lions' side with his pace. So it's a case for the Lions of sorting the discipline out. For the Western Province, I suppose it's a case to just keep doing what they're doing because they're forcing the mistakes and then they're just using them. And a couple of very well worked tries. It's always nice seeing a wing going into a corner. When he's not even touched because people have worked it so well. So the hands of the Stormers, the Western Province have been quite good and always looking dangerous out wide. And I'm sure. Nzwake and Corsi will be telling his boys just to sort out the discipline. You just don't concede that many penalties. You got to sort out the basics. Control the controllables. You can't control how fast you are. You can't control how good they are, but you can control catching a ball up or off the kickoff. You can control not being offside. Those are the small things that you can control, and the more you can make sure you do those things correctly, it gives you that chance of being able to get a result. Or at least being more competitive. But let me know what your thoughts of the half are in the comments as well. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll look at a couple of stats from the first half. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Lions are currently trailing the Western Province 19 or 29 points to 15, rather 14-point deficit. A very impressive first half from the Western Province, where they dominated in most facets. But the Lions allowed them to dominate. Really allowed them into the game with a couple of very basic errors. I think in open play, the Western Province look very, very dangerous. They've got a lot of very good ball carriers. Diamani, Angela Davis, Leon Zas are tricky characters to defend against. And I think that the Lions defensively have looked a little bit fragile at times. The pack has stood up, I'd say, from the Lions. I think they've been quite physical. You look at the rolling maul. The Western Province have scored a try from the rolling maul, but the Lions have scored 2 tries from their rolling maul, so they have been quite good there. Scrums, the Lions look pretty good as well. The lineouts have been 50-50. I've been very impressed by the Lions at number 5 lock. Simon Dionisio, who's been very impressive. He's been very good at the lineouts. He's worked hard. Looks a real nice player. But for the Western Province, it's just a case of continuing doing what they're doing. They've got nice players coming off the bench, the likes of Dion Free, Godwin Masimla, Sadi Sandi, Leon Lyons, who've all been playing URC. So they've got plenty of experience. They have a lot of good players who can come off the bench and add that extra sort of impact. For the Lions, not so much, more youngsters. For the Lions, the players, I'd say, were impressive. I think Morgan Isaacs has kicked quite nicely. I'd like to see him a bit more with ball in hand. I think we need to get James Valencia into the game a little bit more, as well as Aiden Capito, who've got nice turns of pace. Kieran Horn's been very impressive, the fullback. I did say watch out for him early on, and I think he has looked pretty solid. But what do you reckon? You never know what your full-time predictions are. Please do smash like, continue subscribe to the channel as well. And I don't even know what journey we're on. We're past 10,000, which we didn't really sort of plan on being there so quickly. So I suppose the next journey is just more steps. 10,100. 11,000. 12,000, 13,000, and sort of work our way up and see where we can be by the end of the year, I suppose. Right, Kevin Thomas says it's learning curve for young Lions team, whereas Yanni Duplessis, I'll be with the seniors. So he'll be back in action next weekend. Next week we've got quite a busy week of rugby. We've got Currie Cup action on the Wednesday, which will obviously be live for all 3 games. Then we've got URC on Friday and Saturday. Speaking of games, we'll still be live again tomorrow. Lakanya will be taking you guys to Leinster versus Montpellier tomorrow, which should be quite a cool game as well. Right, teams are back. The Lions have got the ball in hand as Vaughan Isaacs will look to restart the game. A couple of minutes left with 14 men here in the Western Province, so the Lions will do well to try and make that count as Vaughan Isaacs goes towards the right-hand side. Atira Diamani, the former Lions player, underneath it, slipping 2 tackles, but eventually being brought down by Simon Dionisio. And a penalty for not rolling, which, again, I think it's a bit hard. I don't think he was really impeding the ball there. But Ajax has been very strict with the not rolling. It's several penalties he's blown for the same infringement. But that kind of sort of sums up the Lions' issues, just the lack of discipline. Far too many penalties being conceded by the visitors. He just gone to ground, Jazz, on this. Yeah, I don't know if there's been an issue with his ankle or something. Not sure what the issue is here. It looked like they're cutting away some strapping on his ankle. So a couple of running repairs earlier on in the second half. Yeah, let me know if you have any full-time score predictions. Who are you backing? Who are you supporting? RJ Smith getting ready to come back on. Needs to start being a bit careful, RJ Smith. He's going to get a bit of a reputation. He picks up quite a few cards. He had that ban overturned for what was supposed to be eye gouging. So that was good to see. But he tries to sort of fulfill that enforcer role. Tries to be quite physical and intense, but at times a little bit over-eager. And now it's another penalty against the Lions for taking the man out in the air. So that's back-to-back penalties. I think it's against Jared Keynes. And all of a sudden, the Western Province kick that towards. I mean, what's the point? I mean, you come out here, you can see stupid penalties like that, and all of a sudden, the Western Province, from being back in their 22, are in your 22 with an attacking line out. And there's no need for that. Why do we need to concede a penalty for bringing the man out in the air? For the rolling more here, are the Western Province. It's going towards the left-hand touchline. Yeah, so the penalty advantage for collapsing the maul. Western Province got a free run here. Simon Miller lines up Jared Keynes, who gets bounded over, manages to bring him down eventually. Good tackle, another Kleber coming in from Dionisio. Couple of phases here for West Province. John might pick up and go. They go to Tristan Lates. Got Andrew Davis outside him. He goes inside Tristan Lates. Brought down. Managed to get the hands away. And Andrew Davis just fumbling it forward, but they'll go back for the penalty. So that's 3 penalties in a row from the Lions. They need to be careful. Trying to find what the penalty count is, because it's becoming a massive problem for the Lions. You can't concede that many penalties. Right, so penalties conceded. You see, this is wrong because this has got the Lions conceding 4 penalties. Well, it's 8 penalties in total, but there's been more penalties than that. This one with the Currie Cup is we very rarely get up-to-date, accurate stats. Well, Dionisio's gone off, which is not good. He's been probably the best player in the park here, actually, and Gilbert replaces him. Looks a little bit sore, does Dionisio. I think it's a bit of an ankle injury that he's carrying, but it's an impressive debut from him, so fair play. Rolling more here. There's not too many plays ahead. And it's another penalty advantage from AJ Jacobs. And Tim Streel's caught on the ball by Ed Cabito. I think we're going to see a yellow card here. Well, Lunga Gube has been sent a yellow card. He's literally just walked on. I think this is harsh, because I think the maul breaks away and there isn't really much of structure to it. So his contribution, I mean, it's not because he's done anything particularly wrong. He's just the 4th infringement. See, 10 penalties conceded there from the Lions. And they're running more here, moving towards the side. This is going to be a try. That's a very good defense there. Ball's popped up to Thomas Bursey. Almost looked like he fumbled it. They've gone all the way and they've dropped it there, so it should be a knock-on advantage. Well, 4 penalties, a couple of rolling mauls there, and the West Province haven't been able to make a count as the Lions managed to force an error there. Keji knocking it on. So the Lions get away with that one. They've got another 9 minutes without a man, so they've got a big passage here, and it's a lock as well, so they've lost a lot of grunt. I mean, I think Thomas Bursey actually knocks it on initially because he actually drops on to the back of Chad Solomon. Right, change comes in. Yeah, Sally Sunny is on as well as Leon Lyons. So bringing on the veterans. Well, I wouldn't say the veterans, but Leon Lyons is a very experienced player. Sally Sunday has played at a very high level. So 2 former SL20 tight hits at the moment, and it looks like James Valencia has been asked to come and pack down at flank. And Jacques Fidel on as well. So it is a completely new Western Province front row. Yeah, that's short on. They're pushing before the ball's in there, AJ. Thank you. So 2 over eager there from the Western Province front row. Concede a short time penalty or a free kick. Let me get my clock going. That'll help. And they don't find touch there. Obviously, Ikeji now with a bit of a chance to runs into Klabakanya and Damien Fentu, who brings him down. Bursey going towards the left to Connor Evans, who runs into Manus Tuka, who brings him down. Slow ball there for Bursey. Goes to Sunday. Goes to Damien Fentu, who stands up well to the tackle. Tim Sweel going to Tristan Late. Tristan Late's going to Leon Zas. David gets on. He bounces off Morgan Isaacs, but he's brought down by Stratham. And Jared Kane's all over that ball. I mean, AJ Jacobs, why don't you just pull in? It's another penalty advantage for hands. And I hate that penalty, that whole hands beyond the ball thing. I think it's such a fine margin to it. Daimani with the pace. Daimani's over. It's far, far too easy. He's just waltzed over there as Daimani. Daimani's been absolutely everywhere. He hasn't really played like an 8th man. He's been in the center channel. He's been finding himself out wide a lot. With the pace he's got, you can understand why. This is far too easy. See, they just spread it out here, and he just gets on the outside, and Aiden Kabito doesn't come close to making that tackle. You've got to try and actually put a bit of effort than that. And I think the Lions backline needs to actually start standing up here because they've been torn apart at the moment. You've got to look at Hansen here because it's a 2-1. It's a 2-on-2, and Hansen decides to let him go on the inside, which he didn't need to trust your outside man. They never ever trust the outside man. So Kabito's coming across, and if Hansen just sort of held his line and actually made a tackle on Damon, even if he gets the pass away, it's a 1-on-1, in which case he's got to back the defender. So Hansen probably more guilty than, in fact, of not even making an effort. And Tim Streel's added the extra 2. Starting to look a little bit ominous for the Lions, who haven't been able to get outside their half so far. Still down to 14 men. That would have been the 5th penalty of the half had AJ Jacobs called it. And Godlem Simla has just come to the park. Right, time for the young lads to step up here. Morgan Isaac's going towards the left-hand side of the park, lifting it nice and high. Good take there from Simon Miller. Kick over the top here. There we go. Penalty against Western Province now for offside there. Currie wants to take it quickly, but being told to come back. Sorry, they're all in front. It's going to be unfair. Is that really why? That doesn't make sense to me. So the Western Province are all in. So they were in front of the kicker. They've all run in. They've called the penalty. So Currie has run from where the ball landed to the mark, taken it quickly, and then he's been told, "No, you can't." He says they're all in front. It would be unfair. I don't understand that. If Currie can run from there to where the mark is, he is far further than anything else, and they haven't retreated in time. How is it unfair? Why is he not allowed to take that quickly? That makes no sense to me. I mean, any other penalty, you don't sit there and wait for them to get back on side. That's their responsibility. If that's genuinely why I stopped it, then that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Here comes the rolling more here. Damian Fenton needs to give this to Claessens. Claessens goes himself, gets his hands to the ball, and Stratum is over. Zeilinger Stratum. Well, it's a bit of a burst there from Claessens. Managed to get his hands to the tackle, and then Stratum finishes off. He's had a tough afternoon trying to mark Angelo Davis, but a little bit nowhere, actually, if we're being brutally honest, the youngster. But he's got a Currie Cup try to his name. Yeah, I see. He gets to the middle. It's very good support play from Zeilinger Stratum. Ball comes inside. Claessens. Yeah, it's a very nice pass away. And Stratum just, puts his head down. Once he puts his head down, then he wants to have a go, yeah. Right, Morgan Isaacs needs to now add the extra 2 here. You know what, to be fair, as much as I've been saying, I think the errors that they've conceded have been stupid errors. But for this line side to come and score potentially 22 points against the Western Province is a nice showing from them. Just poor reffing. Yeah, I think it's just frustrating, some of the calls. I don't understand that whole, it's not fair because they're all in front. He does add the extra 2, Vaughan Isaacs. Looks like he's got a very good boot on him. Lions no depth. I suppose it depends on how you define depth. They've made a decision not to mix their squads. So, they could have fielded a far more players here. They could have played a lot more fringe players, and their team would have looked more like the Western Province had, but they've decided not to. Also, worth noting that the Lions, I haven't put it up on the screen, but the Lions, Western Province, have no longer got a yellow card, and the Lions do have a yellow card for another 2 more minutes. Gone short of the kickoff, and he's been taken out in the air there. Yeah, and the penalty comes there from AJ Jacobs. Heroic there from Emmanuel Tuka because he knew he was going to be taken out. They try to go short and catch the Lions unaware. And Emmanuel Tuka was aware to the threat, jumped up, got taken out. And now Vaughan Isaacs will be able to kick this into Western Province territory. He's got a really big boot as Vaughan Isaacs. I'd like to see him back himself a little bit more in terms of the angle because, he's losing about 10 meters every time because he's being a bit cautious, which you'd rather be cautious than either kick it dead or not kick it out at all. But I think he's got such a big boot, I reckon he could find substantially better touch finders. Okay, so there's a bit of an issue with the lineup there. The Lions have had a bit of discussion, so they might have a bit of a change. I think Manchester Tuka will probably become the key jumper. Yeah, it's a nice take from him. Here comes another rolling more from the Lions. There's a hand over the top. I think it's RJ Smith. He's got his hands on Damian Fenton. He's not got hands on the ball. Come through the middle, though. Got him Simmons all over that. And a penalty because you can't protect your bloody ball carrier. You see, that's what I'm talking about, basics. The Lions not happy with how it's pulled down. I have to look at a replay because the maul does collapse. So AJ Jacobs says that it's a Lions play that collapsed it. I'd like to see the replay, but it just goes down. We haven't been able to take the ball carrier any time. And David Fenn's gotten by himself, and all Godwinson has to do is go down, put his hands on the ball, and go, ref, he's not releasing. Which I think we need to see more of an effort of people actually trying to take the ball. I think it's getting far too easy for someone, as soon as the ball goes down, to just put your hands on the ball and go, ref, he's not releasing. Get your hands on the ball and try and pull it out, because it's becoming too much of an easy free penalty. I've spoken about it before. Going wide, Joe Western Province, Tristan Lates. Deliberate knockdown, so it's a penalty against Currie and Horn there for deliberate knockdown, and the penalty count continues to rise. Not the best kick there from Tim Swill, who finds touch halfway between the 10, just past the 10-meter line. Tristan Lates doing well to get the hands on the ball here. Yeah, and these days you can't. You're gonna put your hand out. You gotta make sure you can get both hands to it. Otherwise, you're gonna get blown for penalty for deliberate knockdown every day of the week. Now, kind of breaking off the Smith running into James Malense and Morgan Isaacs. Oh, that's a massive hit from PJ Steenkamp. I think it was on Simon Miller. And it's a penalty advantage once again for the Western Province. Not sure what it's for. Also didn't look like the best of cleanouts there. It looked almost like it was a bit of a crocodile cleanout. No clear release is the call. Now it's right in front of the pole, so Western Province will be able to probably just kick this forward. I mean, they've got the bonus points. They're going for the corner. I don't think they realize that they don't need to go for the corner, but Tactor not releasing is the call. Is Schroeder on the field? I haven't seen him come on. I don't think so. I haven't seen number 22 on the park just yet. And I think Lunga and Klube is back on the field. And PJ Steenkamp feeding that hit. No, it's not PJ Steenkamp. Who's down here? Why are we never seeing any replays? We didn't see the replay of like the last. We saw the one replay of the last 3 penalties. We stop watching this. I want to go back and see why the penalty was awarded here. Yeah, it's a big hit. Oh, that is a terrible call for no release. By the time he gets to the ball, his hands are not even near. I mean, PJ Steenkamp's hit is so big. And then Kubita, who wasn't even part of the tackle because the hit was so big that by the time he went down to ground, he wasn't even touching the thing. When it goes over, I'm not convinced that he was cleaned out legally and a penalty for not releasing. So AJ Jacobs definitely got that one wrong. Now, Ruan Fender's in the park. Very exciting youngster. It'd be frustrating if we lost because I really don't think that was a penalty. I think that's very, very. Oh, that is a brilliant line-out steal by Lunga and Ngube. How's that for making amends for? Look, he made a. I mean, he wore the brunt of a team penalty, but that is a phenomenal line-out steal. He went up, grabbed the ball, plucked it out, and said, "Thank you very much." Now, Morgan Isaacs needs to try and find decent clearance out there. He won't find touch. He goes straight down the middle of the park, which is not the right idea when you consider how much pace they've got. Leon Zat's going to go himself. Nice tackle there by Suguia. He's on the field. Good offload there to Masimla. Now Klaas is going to be for the ball there. Slow ball here for the Western Province. Solid defense so far. Tim Swill going himself. That's a nice tackle on Simon Miller. Good defense here from the Lions. Nice kind of back there from Inter putting a bit of pressure on the Western Province, who've been pegged back here. Ngube with a nice tackle there on another clubber. Pick up and go. I think it's by RJ Smith. Similar now going to Quenzo Blosser. No, not Quenzo Blosser. Leon Lyons now in the 17 jersey. Tim Sweel, not much on. Tristan Lates running the hands. It's another good defense here from the Lions. They're not winning any sort of territory here at the Western Province. In fact, they're going bad. It's another big hit as well. He spun out the tackle as Chad Solomons. And it's a knock-on as well. That is a really, really positive section of play there from the Lions. Really fronted up for the defensive. They haven't necessarily done that. So probably haven't done that enough so far in the game. But, there, for the first time, we've seen a young Lions side draw a line in the sand and just say, we can actually physically match up to you. You saw some big hits there. A couple of players driven back. And MJ Pulser, one of the more experienced players for the Lions, now coming onto the park. Replaces Jared Keynes, I think it is there. Two tackles there for Oswald now on debut as well. The young hooker. And time is off. Good to see MJ Pulse on the park. I rate him, actually. I think he's a nice little player. I can get rid of the yellow card as well because Lungbe is back. Looks like a big unit, actually. Right, big scrum here. Lions feed. It's a pretty good contest. Both scrums are popped up, though. Goes to Isaacs. Isaacs brings out that boot of his. Slates covers a lot of ground. Chased by Hansen. Slates decided to go himself, going quite lateral. Brings in Angela Davids. He runs to MJ Pulser. Good tackle from him. The Lions will start the West Province before getting into their own half. Now Smith goes himself. Stuka with a good tackle there. MJ Pulser with another tackle on Connor Evans this time. West Province will find their way into the Lions territory. Sally Sunday almost through a half gap, which closed quite quickly. Now Tim Sweel going to Tristan Lates. They need a spread here. Daimani step inside. Eventually brought down by the 10-meter line. So West Province making progress. Masimla going himself. And Davis is down. Ball over the top back to Masimla, who's wrapped up by Kieran Horn. Now Daimani with another carry. He's been very good today. In fact, could be very much be man of the match, actually, candidate here. Sally Sunday at first receiver. Spreading it left. Now the kick over the top from corner Smith is well read by Hansen, who will mark it. So poor there from Western Province. But it was good positioning there from Hansen. Window stands over to full capacity, not only 2,000 spectators. Look, I think Nottingham Tetra has been put under quite a lot of pressure to increase the capacity. So I'll be interested to sort of see what will happen there. Hopefully sooner rather than later, though. It doesn't necessarily have to go to full capacity. It's got a half capacity. It's not like we ever full stadiums anyway. That's a very nice little step from Tim Sweel. That's just left MJ Pulser, and he's managed to actually find a bit of ground there. Now McClellan with a pick up and go. Connor Evans now being brought down by Asanat and Clavicania. Solid out from the Lions captain. Say Sunny with the ball. Tristan Lates behind him. Tristan Lates now under a lot of pressure. But he managed to spin away. In fact, he's burst through the middle here. Scramble defense puts in the... Oh, my goodness. The pace. The pace. Angela Davids has a hat-trick because the Lions cannot tackle. And I've got no pace in behind there, apparently. But that's really good awareness from Tristan Lates. And you've got to look at... there's a bad pass there. And... Osago manages to get through, but misses the tackle. As a result, there's a huge gap. It opens up to Tristan Lates. He thinks about the pass and then decides, you know what, I back the pace of Angela Davids, puts in the grubber kick, and Angela Davids will probably scoop a man of the match performance with a hat trick. You see, you've got to make that tackle. And there's just nobody back. And he's always going to win the pace battle there. It's Angela Davids versus Claessens, and there's going to be one winner there. So it's Angela Davids, who's pretty much a dream return to the 15s game. He's decided to play it full time, which I don't think is the best decision. I don't understand. I mean, I know money wise it's probably better, but I don't see Angelo Davids making Springboks, whereas he would be a star in the Blitzboks. So he's players like that. I get frustrated at the fact that they've committed to sevens full time. Somebody like Stefan Kantz, by all means, can play 15s, but I don't think Angelo Davids is going to make it to the highest level in the 15s game. Could be wrong. I could be wrong. And that's frustrating because the Lions they were playing well, actually. We were defending nicely, putting a bit of pressure on them. Tim Sweels missed that kick, so remain at 41-22. But if Lions can find another try, they'll at least get a bonus point, by the way. They'll get a bonus point for scoring 4 tries. So it's still a reason to continue playing. See, Osawagu's got to make that tackle. You have to make that tackle. See, one missed tackle, and Tristan Yates through. Grab it on, there's only one winner. So take on the restart there. I think it's Simon Miller and Jared Keynes, who's still in the park. It was Mark Stamen who went off earlier. Now number 22 on the park. That's Nico Stamen there for the Lions. MJ Pulser managed to charge that down. Ball's up in the air. Who wants it though? No Lions players even went up for it, but somebody's come away with it. I think it's Tyler Box has come away with it. He's also in the park there. Manuel Tuka. Oh, that's good hands by Tuka. Hanson's down the right-hand side, yeah. Back inside to Q and Horn, keeping it alive. Good work here from the Lions. They managed to find themselves in the Western Province half. Nico Stain out towards Lunga and Kube. He's brought down by Leon Lyons. Morgan Isaacs decides to go to Klabakanya. There's a lot of Western Province players coming out quickly, so it's good for him to lay the pass. Now Aiden Cubido goes himself, looking for supporters, looking to try and get his hands away. Andrew Davis has won that on the ground, and you want to talk about not releasing, not convinced he did, but the Western Province have turned the ball over. Tristan lays right up against the touchline. MJ Pulse is now all over that. And gets clean away eventually. That's a big tackle on Nama Klaba. It's a good turnover for the Western Province because the Lions are looking pretty good there. Hoist up. That's Tester for Morgan Isaacs. The ball comes backwards. It's picked up by Cubido. Pass away. Straight at Fred Zayling's coming away from that. It's a high tackle as well, so there's a penalty advantage. Now Tyler Box inside. Nico Stain looking for options. Gives to Morgan Isaacs. Puts the kick in behind. Four straight for Hansen. Oh. Well, Chatuka's come away with it, actually. He's still got it, He's about to be bundled into touch. No, Hansen's still there. Can he get there? He's managed to get there. That's a brilliant finish. Well, that's a very strange passage of play. That is the bonus point try. It was a very good kick in behind by Morgan Isaacs, actually, which set up well for Hansen. And Tristan Lates was very lucky because they tried to put the kick in behind, and it came off his boot. And he almost actually made a try-saving tackle by virtue of just lying in front of him as he almost tripped over him. Chatuka did well to get there, ripped the ball away. The ball then comes loose, and Hansen picks it up. Still got work to do. Rises the tackler one, falls over Tristan Late, spins over and puts his arm out. That's a very good finish. That's a bonus point for the Young Lions. Well, it's been plenty of points today. It hasn't always been the most free-flowing game, but there's been plenty of points. I mean, we're looking at, 60, almost 70 points so far. Conversion to come from Morgan Isaacs. So the full bench on here for the Lions. I think Stronger is still on the bench. I'm not sure if we've replaced we've put on Heiko Pullman yet either. But I'd imagine Klabakanya is probably play. I mean, it's very rare to see a tight head play much more than 65, 70 minutes. That is a stunning looking kick. And Morgan Isaacs has kicked very well today, and he's nailed that from the right touchline. 41 points to 29. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's over yet, but Lions looking to try and make a bit of a game of it. Well, it's a bonus point, and I think, if we're going to be honest, if we had said at the beginning of the match that we were going to score 4 tries and get a bonus point, I'd probably have taken that. Defense has been pretty porous, so I've got to fix that up. Western Province 14 points ahead. 14 points, 12 points ahead. I can't do maths at the moment. And once again, the Lions have butchered the restart, and Western Province are on the attack from the 22, and that's resulted in 2 tries. So you talk about where the game goes wrong, and sorting out the restart. That's a big hit on Sunday. I mean, he's absolutely huge. He's been picked up and dumped by Ruan Fenter, but they've gone down the side. Offside against AJ Jacobs. Against Willem Darber. Far too many offside penalties. Well, there's Schroeder. Chris Schroeder on the park. Right, there we go. Heiko Pullman on now for Imton Jarnet. Looks like quite a tall character. Granted, he does look like quite a tall character. Right, so the Lions once again under the cosh because they can't take the kickoff. That's like it's so often. It's far too. I mean, they butchered the line a little bit there. Sunday is cleaning up. Western Province still with ball in hand there, butchering the lineup though. I've got to watch that AJ Yarkus. It's Leon Lyons taking 3 players off behind the ball there. Clubber going himself. MJ Pulsar on that ball quickly. Pick up and go. I think that looks like Dion Ferree actually. Yeah, there's Dion Ferree's on the park. Making progress here on the Western Province, looking to try and keep it tight. MJ Pulsar is floating around there. He wants to try and get his hands on a ball, on a breakdown. They're getting closer to the Western Province. There's so many bodies that you almost don't even know where the ball is. AJ Jacobs has awarded a try. I think he has grounded it, but I don't know how AJ Jacobs would even begun to have seen that because there were about 14 bodies. The ball went into an abyss and he's awarded the try. I think he has grounded it, yeah. You still can't see anything. I think he's. From the way they came up, it looks like he scored, but you still can't see anything in the middle there. So obviously Jakob saw something. Right, so 48 points to 29. Frustrating, as I said, and that all comes down to not being able to take your line. As I said, you take your kickoff, and the Lions could have removed 3 tries and actually been in the game. The restart. Just still 10 minutes to go, by the way, so plenty of time. And the Lions have now actually won it off the kickoff there. Stain goes himself, kicks ahead. That'll run out. So it was a nice idea. But both teams, I suppose, probably quite guilty of making a bit of a hash of the restart, which for me is such a simple thing to try and get right. Taking it quickly out of the Western Province as Tristan Lades thumps that downfield. Now Tyler Box is looking to try and get a bit. He's quite a big character, Tyler Box. Morgan Isaacs bringing in Hansen, the try scorer. Good handling there from Pulsar. Kieran Horn decides he wants to step aside. He's got very fleet foot, as Kieran Horn, kind of almost in the mold of a Tyron Green, which if he can develop into half the player would be a nice addition. Morgan Isaacs, nice handling there. Pullman, the big prop, goes on a bit of a run himself. Nico Stain going towards the left. And Tyler Box has knocked it forward. So I have a scrum. Frustrating because the Lions look to try and hit back there. Big scoring game. Big scoring one this fight. Yeah, it has been. I think it's you're always probably going to get a high scoring game in the early stages. I think both defenses haven't been good enough. I think set pieces have been quite important. Quite a few penalties been conceded. So, allowing for a lot of set pieces, allowing a lot of try scoring opportunities. 7 handling errors by the Western Province, 5 by the Lions. It kind of reads like a preseason game, doesn't it? Which it shouldn't be because, it's the first game under Currie Cup, but we didn't really get warm-up games in. I think they had a couple of inter-squad games, but this is the only... this is the first sort of competitive game a lot of these players have played since about November, December. But he says the All Province awake once more. Yeah, look, I wouldn't get too ahead of yourself. I think that the Western Province face far stiffer competition in weeks to come in the likes of the Cheetahs, depending on what we see within the Bulls. And we haven't seen a Shark squad yet, so they could also be quite strong. pretty even scrum there from both sides. Got him a similar eventually deciding to break down. To himself. Pilot box going for the interception. Ball comes off straight in, but it lands back towards corner Smith. Tristan Lace now trying to find some space. Brought down by Hansen and bundled out eventually. Good defense there. They lost a lot of ground there for the Lions, but it's decent defense. MJ Pulse thought about taking quickly, but deciding against it. But I think the Western Province next week are up against. I mean, you saw between the Greeks and the Cheetahs earlier as well. A couple of players suffering from a bit of cramp. The game just sort of slowing down and sort of gets to the thing. I think it does read like a lot of players who are still sort of getting used to things. So Ruan Fenter there with his first line win goes to Nico Stain, who goes to Vaughan Isaacs, bringing in. I think he's just brought in Ruan Fenter there. Clavacania still there. That's very well read by Kabito. Vaughan Isaacs wants to tip over the top himself. Bounce the ball, and then he just managed just dislodges the ball as Tristan Lates in the tackles. A nice little chip over the top by Vaughan Isaacs. And now he kicks deep, and it's a long chase for Chituku. He's under a lot of pressure from Angelo Davids. It does go down, so it will be a goal line dropout, chaps. $21. So I think they're going back for a penalty here, but it looks like Gardner Simmons going to the bin. A trip after the kick. Well, it looks for kill. It's coming from the TMO, by the way. So there's a call from the top there. Gardner Simmons has been binned for a trip after the kick. Not sure who it's for. I mean, it's against, but it's against Simmons. I don't know who he tripped though. So it's a penalty on the halfway line. The call comes from the TMO, so hopefully we'll get a bit of a. Have to look at hopefully get a replay here. Yonkers, where are we going here, Chief? West Province plays like this against the Bulls, it's going to be a huge hiding. Let's see how the Stormers do. At the very least, there may be depth in certain positions. I think front row wise, the Stormers are, although having said that, they did struggle today. I mean, the West, that's a fantastic kick by Vaughan Isaacs. He's gotten the lines right within almost at the 5 meter there from the halfway line. Why can we not see replays? I want to see what happened. I want to see where the trip came. If the TMO made the call, it means there must be footage of it. This is really frustrating, Supersport. We've seen very few replays today, and often of the penalties. So we can't even make an assessment about whether your call is correct or not, or the referee's call. Tell you what, me and Vera might be able to get along at this rate. They go to the back of the line, and not straight as the call from AJ Yakovs. He's been very strict on that, far stricter than I've seen a lot of referees. Oshiwagu can't believe it. I mean, it's strange for it to be called not straight when they go to the back and there's no contest. Here we go. Here's the trip. Oh, I think it's on Tyler Box. Yeah, he does. He does kind of kick out a boot there, actually. So you can shake your head all you want, chap, but yeah, I thought it was the kick and chase there, but it's on that Tyler Box, and he does throw a boot out, which you can't do. So I don't know why he's shaking his head, and that's so stupid as well to concede a penalty like that. Escom man in the camera. I mean, literally. I mean, we finally see a replay, but I mean, how long does it take? But yeah, strange to see it being called for not in straight when you go to the back and there's nobody competing. Yeah, the Stormers will go to number one because they'll have a superior. Well, I mean, at this stage, if the Lions score another try, I think they'll still go to the top in terms of points difference. Western Province almost look like they're pushing before the ball is in there. Pick up and go off the back there. It's Marabe who's operating at 8th man. Tuka has won a brilliant penalty on the ground. Nico Stain's got himself quickly. Still goes, Nico Stain. Needs a bit of support here, chaps. Where's the support? AJ Pulsar, it's a horrible pass to Hansen. No, he's got to... Oh, get the pass out of the wide there. They're talking about no rolling. No rolling. AJ, why must we roll? And they just look at where's the no rolling there? Thank you. You must have heard me. I mean, geez, there's two players who are just lying at the bottom of the ruck. It is a penalty for the Lions on the 5 meter. The reason I say that is because he's been very strict with the rolling today, and which is fine. I don't mind being strict on anything, but you got to be strict on both teams. Okay, so they've gone to the corner. I'm still trying to bring up the fixtures for next week because the Supersport website is not having a good time. So I'll take Balunga and Ube. It's quite a big unit. It's a good maul. Oh, yeah, this surely has to be a try. They're like within inches. Try time. Meanwhile, shock and flippin' horror. Oh, no, it's Leon Lyons. I thought it was a fight in Dion Free. Dion Free had to come and push someone. He's such a nasty piece of work, isn't he, old Dion Free? He loves a bit of a scrap. But Swagu goes over. And that's a 5th try for the Lions. So this is what I'm saying. It kind of reads like a warm-up game in terms of far too many tries being scored. I still don't know what Leon Lyons was doing here. I mean, he peels off with somebody and then dumps them. Morgan Isaacs off the left hand upright, but they still goes in. I mean, he's kicked beautifully today. Well, I haven't seen too much of him with ball and handball now. I haven't seen any distribution, but from a kicking point of view, you can't really fault him, can you? 48 points to 36. I mean, if you enjoy watching rugby with a lot of points, then this is what we get. Time back on at 78-58. For our Lions, for the sake of all that is good, can you just take a kickoff for once? Just for once. I'm not asking much, am I? I don't think I'm asking much. Hey, Hansen has taken it. So for once, the Lions have managed to take it cleanly off the restart. So the fixtures next week, the Lions taking on the Pumas at Ellis Park. So, I mean, I would love to be at that game. If I wasn't on crutches, I would have definitely have been there. Tyler Box now trying to find a bit of space through. Almost finding, but he's still going at Tyler Box. It's a nice little leg drive there as well. Going down the left, Morgan Isaac cracks on the pace himself. Gets it away to MJ Pulser. It's a very good tackle by Leon Lyons. Sally Sunday, the ball's spilled off to the side there. Dion Freeze missed it, ref. You can't go in again. So it's still there for the Lions on the halfway line. Very nice break there from Morgan Isaacs. I've been impressed with them today. Ron Fenter carrying it up this time. Staying, going to Kabilo. You can operate at 10. Chatuka has a little bit sort of 50-50 what he wanted to do there. But on the halfway line now, back to Ron Fenter. Runs into Simon Miller. I don't think it'll be the first time these two players play against each other. Two very promising youngsters. The hooter does go as Pullman continues to carry it. Staying, going out towards Tyler Box. And it's been ripped in the tackle by Leon Zas. Will he have the pace? Oh, cross. And now the player on the ground has now been kicked on the way there. So that's gone really well. I think it's James Valencia. That's Hansen actually still down. While he's down, has been kicked in the head for his efforts. Well, full time at the DHL Stadium. 48 points to 36. Look, they dominated. They were the better side by a country mile. Angelo Davids with a hat-trick. But I think there's room for improvement on both sides. But I think the Lions can be quite proud of the effort for such a young, inexperienced side to go and score all those points. Is a decent effort. But I think that the Western Province, look, I mean, it's the perfect start. They go to the top of the table. They've scored, I think, about 7 tries compared to 5. So defense will be a major talking point, or the lack thereof. But a lot of people wrote off that Lions side as not taking the team seriously. And I think I think that's unfair given what we saw on the on the top there. So so 5 points for the Stormers. They'll go and tie the Bulls on top of the log in the early stages of the competition. Next week we've got the Lions taking on the Pumas, the Sharks taking on the Griquas, and the Western Province taking on the Bulls. So a much sterner task does await the men from the Western Province. But thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Lekani will be with you guys for Leinster versus Montpellier, and then I'll be back on Wednesday for more Currie Cup action. Please do smash like and subscribe to the channel on the way out, and I'll chat to you guys all very soon.